life's greatest questions seem like a mystery? Well, we're probably going to talk about it here at Appalachian Liturgy. Important questions like, are you a Jedi or an Imperial? Is oatmeal actually a breakfast cereal? Is a Catholic weekday really called a ferial? Did you know that Mr. Rogers was Presbyterial? So join us as we have a little fun talking about thy kingdom come. Appalachian Liturgy.
So I have one question. I meant to ask it earlier.
I knew you
It's
would.
probably not the best place in the podcast since we're getting ready to wrap up. I'm going to go ahead and ask it. I may edit it out. So I'm wondering because marijuana is a political hot button issue. Yeah.
Go ahead.
And so the progressive in me wants to know, just as someone in recovery, what is your opinion of marijuana? How should it be used? Should it be used for recreation? And again, I'm probably going to edit this part out.
Well, before she answers this question, just let me say this. I think different people in recovery have different opinions on this.
Yes.
For some people, they will not ever pick up marijuana because they know that it's going to lead them to something else. I have a really good friend. He now lives in Alaska, and he came out about 30 days ago because I think he's on day 33, and he started going to meetings because of marijuana. And what he realized is he was addicted to marijuana in kind of the same way I'm addicted to caffeine, right? That he was using that and it was impacting all these different things that he was, getting up and thinking, when was this first joint? When was this? When was that? So he is actually in recovery for marijuana. So I think it depends on the person.
Yeah,
That's a good preface.
I'll start it out with saying kind of like how my mom did, how I said some people are addicts to their substance. Some people are addicts to, they can't drink because whether, even if they were a substance abuser, they start drinking, they're going to go all out. You really have to know yourself. We talk about in recovery and that kind of thing, we are smoking weed and that kind of thing. It should not be, at your early recovery because they're going to use it to replace that drug. If you're in your point of recovery that you are level-headed enough that you aren't using it to cover up wanting to use your substance or whatever, I think it's fine. Personally, I think that it can help a lot of people. I think that's why medically it's prescribed to people. It's not addictive as in it's you feel like you need it. You don't wake up every morning and feel like you need it. I've smoked weed for at least 6 years, 7 years. Okay. It's not addictive. I've never once woke up and been like, I have to smoke weed. If it was legal in Tennessee, I'd probably smoke it now.
Not in my house. That would be a boundary I had.
But it's not, and it's something that people have to do responsibly as well. Don't get super stoned and then go out and mess up your car because you're so zoned out. But people have the wrong concept with weed as well. People think it's this huge mind altering substance. It's not, it's a lot less dangerous than alcohol. It's not that I'm saying I'm not promoting smoking and driving or smoking and doing operating a vehicle. It's not like you're unable to process things in your head. Even if you're stoned to the bone, you're not going to OD on it. You're not going to be able to not function. Some people who get high like on heroin and stuff, they pee their pants. They're unable to get up and go to the bathroom. They're passing out. It's not like that. I think it helps, people, it helps their anxiety, it helps their aches and pains. At this point, they have so many different strains of, they have hybrids, they have sativas, they have indicas, you know, it's all made for different things. People who have issues sleeping, they have strains that, you know, you can smoke and it'll help you sleep for insomnia. You know, they have strains that help, you know, it's more of a body high and it helps with your aches and your pains. They have some that will help with your anxiety and supposed to help with your depression. At this point, they have so many different strains that I feel like they're almost hindering back some, because, you know, it is weed and it's bad and it's a drug. I think that it could help a lot more people. They have some who, you know, cancer patients who don't have loss of appetite. You know, it's good for people who have lack of appetite. There's some that will help with nausea, people, you know, who have nausea, that kind of thing. At this point, I think that they could do a lot more with it if people wouldn't label it so much as a drug or a substance. I will never label weed as a substance, you know, but as especially the generation older than me, you know, they definitely still see it as most people definitely still see it as a substance abuse. I don't, and I think if people would get rid of that concept of it, that they could honestly do lots with it. But, you know, with saying that too, you know, there's always going to be people who abuse stuff, you know, whether they abuse coffee, they abuse, you know, watching TV, whatever. There's always going to be some people that do a whole lot of it. But I think it'll also keep people off of the streets that are selling it, because people are going to do it, you know, and at least then if we have it that way, we know people who are buying, you know, real weed and not, you know, whatever off the street corner. It's not laced with anything, you know, it's good, grown, legal, you know, weed that can't hurt anybody. You know, you never really know if you're buying from somebody who's, you know, a huge plug, who they may have it laced with something, you know, you just never really know. And I think that way it would be a good way to regulate it too, because it's one of those things that I don't foresee people stop smoking weed. In fact, I'm not sure more people don't smoke weed now than what they used to, or people are just a lot more open about it. I know in Virginia you can legally have it now and smoke it recreationally.
Yeah, you can grow your own. You still can't sell it commercially, but you can grow your own. I was just wondering, like, again, I'm a normie. I have zero intent on drinking or smoking anything, and I have, you know, I have drunk a beer, but it usually makes me sick. It usually makes me sick. So just one. Yeah, it usually makes me sick. So I've never been drunk. I've never been high. I don't intend to be. So, but my political beliefs, and I do wonder how much is just because of the way I lean that I end up getting beliefs in these things. Is that, you know,
I'll go ahead.
Oh, please let me finish.
I was going to say, shockingly,
Mr.
that
Bowen.
was a piece. I'll go ahead. You stopped talking. I didn't know.
So my political beliefs is that I think it should be completely legal, recreational. I equate it to alcohol completely. And I think all of those things can be abused and can be addictive, or can be, like you said, an addictive personality can abuse it and become addicted to it because of their personality, right? So it's not necessarily the traits of the thing, like opioids, for instance, but it's more about, it's an addictive personality. They can be addicted to anything. You know, it could be gambling or whatever. I equate all of those together, you know, gambling, alcohol, and whatever. So
I do think that we have a tendency to want to legislate morality, right? Like we want to pass laws and this kind of stuff. And I think really, if you think about where the real hard legalities came to be with marijuana, was in a knee-jerk reaction in the 60s and the 70s to this hippie movement, and it was countercultural, and so there was this really push hard for the legal, you know, to make certain things illegal. I do find that it is unfortunate that we have some folks who have records of felonies and such about substances that we now are making legal. And I think we need to fix that. If we're going to make marijuana legal, then we need to go and expunge the criminal records of people who have been convicted of you know,
Possession,
especially
completely
possession.
agree.
You know, now intent to sell, some of that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm a little gray on that.
I think it's hard though, like in Virginia, I can understand them not wanting them to be selling it, out of their house, whatever. But if you're going to legalize it and you're going to let people sell their own plants and you're going to let people recreationally smoke it, I think then they ought to give an alternative to not making people sell it, because how else are people going to get it?
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
but I can't roll my own tobacco and sell it. I mean, that's been a law forever. I mean, I can't just go out here and sell cigarettes on the side of the road.
Right.
that I made
The
in my
problem here is that we haven't entered the stage where somebody can have a license to grow it and sell it commercially. In Virginia, that's not going to pass until I think 2023, next year. And I believe that's when that gets enacted. And then we can have licensed people to actually grow it and sell it. And,
Now,
at that point,
what I will say is there are people in the recovery community that are going to put her on blast for that opinion. There are people in I mean, seriously.
That's where people are very divided. Honestly, my teachers, though, they're very much because I've been very blunt. I'm a very blunt person anyways, but I've straight told them.
No.
I've straight very much, told them, like, I don't have, any want or desire to never smoke weed again. If I feel like it's going to drive me down the wrong path, yes, I will drop it. I feel like I'm level-headed enough to do that at this point, but they're like, it's different for each person.
Right. Do you think that it's the desire to smoke weed or smoking weed, or is it the people that you might surround yourself with while doing it that's more dangerous?
Mom, I know most of the people that I know that just smoke weed don't have addiction problems. 90% of the people that smoke weed, even on a daily, don't have addiction problems. I think weed is a gateway? No, I do not. Do I think trauma is the gateway? Yes, I do. I don't think weed has anything to do with it. Do I think alcohol is the gateway? No, I do not. I don't think that's the gateway to drug abuse. I think it's trauma. Do I think people can get drunk and make a stupid decision and to do drugs? Absolutely. But alcohol's free. Or I mean, not free, but alcohol's legal, and it's no more, you're a lot more clear and level-headed smoking weed than you are alcohol. And I think alcohol is legal. Never once have I known anybody to smoke weed and not know what they were doing. Multiple times have I known people to get blackout drunk and done stuff that they don't remember the next day. I know people that smoke weed every single day that people would never think, smoke weed, because it's not like people will say, oh, I'm an active, or I'm a person in addiction that, can still make things work. Like I can still hold down a job, that kind of thing. I don't think that there's such a thing like that, because when you are in active addiction to a substance that has a hold of you mentally, you're not 100% into anything that you're doing. But I don't think weed has that kind of hold on you. You're not going to have the withdrawals. It's not giving you, you don't feel attached. You don't feel like it's a ball hooked, like it's a ball on a chain and it's hooked to your ankle. That's how it feels when you're addicted to something. Never have I ever felt like I needed weed. Never have I ever had issues stop smoking weed. Never have I ever, felt like I couldn't go on throughout my day with weed. Have I felt like I could not, have I had issues like dropping a substance? Absolutely. But I've never had an issue being like, okay, I need to stop smoking weed. Let's stop smoking weed. When you are addicted to something, you wake up every day and the first thing you are looking for is for that substance. Or if you're an alcoholic, you're looking for that drink. I don't know a single person that wakes up and the first thing that they have to get through that day is weed. And that's just my personal opinion on it. I've smoked a lot of weed, so I feel like it's kind of valid. Since this is going to be cropped out.
Maybe or maybe not. I don't know.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We really hope you got some enjoyment out of the podcast this week. Remember to check out our website, www.appalachianliturgy.com, and follow us on all of our social medias.
No, the part I was going to yell at you about, which you probably could have guessed, is where you were saying it was a progressive position, because it's a position that I'm 99% sure more than half of whatever your party persuasion is now. It's pretty much most people support legalization now.
I guess I'm stuck
that's
in.
What I was going to yell
the,
at you about.
Yeah, I'm stuck in the.
You're stuck in 1995.
yeah. Well, it was just liberals that only cared about it.
I'm
Yeah.
so
Just Bernie
used to
Sanders.
the pushback, I guess, but I've been pretty upfront and honest about it for a long time now. Like before, it was like, really, people were really pushing for it to be legalized. If I had my way, I would have streamers and balloons and everything up. I'm so upset that Tennessee's so far behind on Virginia. I think Tennessee's better than Virginia in so many ways, but this is the one way that it is lacking.
Well, don't worry. Don't worry. We have quite a few years to regress on everything that's happened with our new governor. So,
That's true.
ain't that right, Bowling?
Ooh. Disagree.
All right, boys.
All right.
Put the boxing gloves away.
If you want an easy way to support us, though, make sure to subscribe to our channels and like our videos on YouTube. Also, join our email list for updates and let us know how we're doing. See you next week, everyone. Appalachian Liturgy Podcast is a JRS Studios production.